Today we are going to replace an SMC 4114 valve with the newer style Mac valves. These 4114s have been discontinued, so these 4114s are going to take their place. So what you're going to need for parts is a a Mac valve with an adapter kit. Just call Kval, and depending on if it's a single or a double valve, these are doubles, these are singles, we got the kits for you. So with that, we also need some connectors to crimp the wires when we're done installing it. Some of the tools we need are going to be a crimping tool, a wire stripper, and then we have some marking tape, and then we have Allen wrenches, and then this comes with the kit that explains how it's put together as well, but with the video you probably don't need that. So the first step we need to do is we need to do a lockout tag out on the machine, make sure the power's turned off and it's all locked out and safe. And then once you do that, there's a black cover that comes off of this. There's 4 Phillips screws, this pulls off. I just have this one here at the shop, and I don't have a cover for it, so sorry about that. So this first valve here, this Q3, we're gonna replace it. So there's 2 wires. If you notice in here, there's 2 wires coming out of here. There's 2 blue ones. One of them's gonna go to the common number 2, and then the other one is gonna go to the output itself. So this one here, we're just gonna pull apart because it's already been apart. This one we're gonna undo. And I always just grab the one wire that comes off of it, which is this one here. And then I'm gonna put these back on for right now. Okay, so that valve is disconnected. Now, there's an Allen that comes with the this new kit here. Just grab it, it's a 9/64, and then go ahead and just unscrew this. And as I'm unscrewing it, the one thing you really want to do first is take a lot of air and blow in and around all the grooves, make sure there's no dust around it. And that way we don't contaminate the ports on the inside of this valve bank. So we're getting this all off. Okay, so basically we pull this off like this, and the gasket came off with it, okay? So now, what we want to do is, this here adapter plate comes with these nuts on here. And what we got to do is we got to take the nuts off because it won't fit on here, and we can just throw the nuts away when we're done. So just take your Allen wrench, go down in here. Oops, wrong one, sorry. Go down in here, just unscrew it. That nut comes off. Okay, that bolt's going to stay in there. And then we're going to do the same thing with this one. Okay, so what we can do now is, if you look at this, we have the wires at this end. We got to feed these wires through this hole right here. So we're going to go through here. Okay. And if you have a hard time, you can pull this out if you wanted to. This little plastic clip, it comes out. But I generally just leave it in. And what I can do here is, once it's through, is just start pulling them. Put it in. And then it's going to seat down there. Okay, once you get the wires all nice and pulled in, we'll go ahead and start screwing it down. Just put your Allen down through here, find that bolt and make sure it lines up, and then just go ahead and tighten it up. And then once we're just get this one kind of snug, we're going to go over to this one, do the same thing. Come back to this one, and you just want to go back and forth until it's tight. But don't over tighten it because you could break the gasket. So now we got that tight, we can go ahead and take the valve, and you can see here the rubber gaskets all the way around, so you don't have to worry about it. But what we want to do here is, see this little white area here? There's only one of them for a single. A double will have 2 of these. So we want to slide that into this little fitting right here. And there it is, it's seated. And then you take your wrench So we got that tightened up. Same way, just get them so they're close, snug, and then you go ahead and do the second one. Of course, there's lots of threads. Okay, that one just got snug. Come back and tighten this one up just a little bit more. Give it a little extra snug there. Come back and snug this one up one more time. All right, so the valve is now mounted on the base, or on the manifold. The manifold is bolted to the valve. So now the only thing left is we got to wire in the top part of this, okay? Where the electrical part is. So I'm going to turn around and we'll get started on that. So on the single valve, all we're going to use is the 2 yellow wires. And one of them will have a black stripe, which is this one here, and the other one's this solid yellow. Generally, I use the black one for the common, and then the yellow one goes to the output. So since we pulled this, the other blue wire off of the green one, I'm going to go ahead and put the 2 of these back together here. And you can use wires or the wire nuts if you'd like. I always like these crimps because that's what we use. And just basically twist them and then crimp it like that, and it's good to go. And I always lightly pull each one to make sure they're tight. Now this one here went back to this common here. So I'm going to pull this apart, add this to that, and then I knew this white wire came out of there too, so I'm going to put it back in because that's our common number 2. And we're just going to tie or wire nut this back together like this. Either wire nuts or crimps, either one will work, that's fine. And then there's a little green wire here for a ground. We never use it, so you can just tape it up or just leave it in the box. It's not going to hurt nothing. And these 2 red ones, they're not going to get used, so they're okay. So this single valve is now ready to go. You could do your undo your lockout tag out and turn it on, and it should work for you. Now we're going to change a double valve. As you notice here on the electrical part of it, there's 4 wires coming out of here. 2 of them are going to go to your common, and then 2 of them, one's going to go to your A port and one's going to your B port. Generally, when we do the electrical prints and make these up, A is always your lower number and B is always your higher number. So if someone was really nice to you when they wired this in, they would have left these leads long. And otherwise, and if they left them long, you're going to have A's and B's on here. This one doesn't have it. They're all the same length, so it's kind of hard to determine. But knowing that my red one was my my number 11 and my brown one or orange one was number 0, I knew that. So what I did is I marked these with 0 on this one, 0 on this one, 1 and 1 on this one. So when I take this apart and put it back together, I'm going to know that the yellow is going to go to 0 and red is going to go to 1. So we're going to unwire this. We're going to take this base off, or this valve off, and we're going to put the new base on, and then we'll come back and show you how to wire it all up. Okay, I just got finished mounting this adapter plate on here for this double valve. So now I'm going to put this double valve on. As I mentioned before on the singles, it had 1 of these connectors. This one has 2. So, and if you look at this one, we still got our valve with our gaskets here. And this one has 2, this one has 3. So it only fits one way. So just go ahead and slide it on here. See here, should go right there. There it goes. And then just go ahead and tighten up your Allens. That one just got snug. We'll go ahead and do the other one. That's tight. Go back and we'll tighten up this last one. All right, the valve's on. So moving forward, if this valve ever failed again, all you'd have to do is turn the air off and then just undo these 2, pull it out, put the new one in, and you're set, ready to go. So when you buy these, you might want to buy a spare valve for down the road so you have it. Now we're going to go into the electrical part of it. So now we have these 4 wires, and what I look for is, I always like to wire in the commons first. So I'm looking for this yellow with the black stripe. So there's 1, and then there should be a red with a black stripe, which is this one here. You can kind of see that black stripe there, right there. So I'm going to tie those with these 2 commons that are over here. Okay, I'm gonna put them all in here together. And we're just gonna wire nut them together, but we gotta make sure they're all together here. And when I'm done, I always like to lightly pull each one to make sure they're tight so they don't come loose down the road when there's vibration on the machine. So the yellow was the A. If you go and look at the documentation that comes with it, that is yellow's A, red's B. So we had output 10 for A, and we had output 11 for B. So on my wire here, I have 10 here, which is my brown wire. I'm going to hook it up with the yellow, and I'm just going to crimp it together. I like crimps too. Just crimp it up like that. Squeeze them. They're both tight. And then I'm going to take the red one, which is my B, and I'm going to go to number 11, which is this one here. Twist those together a little bit. Put the crimp on there. Crimp it. And then we'll check these wires, make sure they're tight. And I didn't do that with the other one either. Okay, they're all tight. So at this point, what I would do is, I don't have the cover. I have to apologize for you on that. But I would pretty much just wrap these all up and put a little tie wrap on them and get them in here nice and neat and put that cover back on. And then you'd be ready to turn your power back on, turn your air back on, make sure there's no air leaks, and then go ahead and do your testing, and it should work for you.